Hey everyone, today I want to do a little video on how to plan when you're stressed. Actually, this should be how to plan when I'm stressed because this is how I plan when I'm stressed. I know that not everybody does this way, but I spend a lot of time in these videos reviewing planners, talking about different planner features, but rarely do I go into detail of how I actually plan. One reason is because I don't like to put my real planners on the internet because it's personal. I mean, I'm amazed when people do tutorials and they put their real actual weekly spreads of their dentist appointments and their doctor's visits and their to-dos, and I'm like, that is private matters, people. You're really brave to put your stuff out there, not because there's anything I'm doing each week that I wouldn't want people to know about, but I don't know. I asked about this in another video too, about would you share your actual wheel of life activity from the Silk and Sonder planner, because how you feel about your finances and your relationship and your work, that's personal, so anyway, I am on a little bit of a tangent there, but the reason why I don't typically do this is because I don't like to put all my personal business out there. That being said, I just had probably the most stressful week that I've had in the last almost 2 years, and there were a lot of factors that contributed to it, and the only way I got through that week was because of how I planned, and it's not how I normally plan. So I really thought it was important to share this with you because it's not a typical type of video that I do, but it was a game changer and a lifesaver for me. So anyway, I want to tell you some tips and show you how I plan if I have a very difficult week. All right, so the first tip is to figure out why you're stressed. Sometimes, you have the Sunday scaries or whatever, and you're just I'm a little bit stressed, but it's gonna be fine. It's just because it's Sunday. And other times, like last week, I was this week is going to just be the most challenging because there were so many things going on in many different areas of my life. And I had also, on top of all of these things that I was thinking about in those different areas of my life, a lot of appointments. My health insurance might be changing soon. And because of that, I had this moment of panic of oh my gosh, you need to go to the dentist. You need to go to the OBGYN. You need to get your daughter's appointment scheduled for her 2-year well check. And I was you need to do it right now because it's the end of the month and you might be losing or having to switch your insurance soon. So that was something that was a huge stressor, but it was something that was really important for me. And I knew that if I could make all of those appointments and just get them taken care of, I would feel such a weight lifted. And I did. And now that they're over, I do. But in the moment, I was I have 4 appointments in 1 week, and I was really stressed about that, combined with many other factors, and I was just this is a lot. So the first thing that I would recommend is sitting down and saying what am I about to walk into? So that could be tasks that you have to do, both large and small, with deadlines, without deadlines, or maybe even loose deadlines. It's not due tomorrow, but it is due this week, and if I don't get on top of it now, there are other people that have to help me with whatever the task may be. I really need to get that started immediately. So figuring out what you need to do, figuring out appointments, figuring out any meetings that you have to go to, really essentially making a big brain dump of everything that you can think of for this week. So start there. That's what I did, and it was just relief enough to get it out on paper and to have it all in one place. The next step is to make a layout for the length of time that you feel you're going to be really stressed or overwhelmed. For me, it was Monday to Friday, but maybe you have a stressful period from Monday to the following Tuesday. That's an 8 or 9 day window. And you know what? Then maybe your layout needs to be 8 or 9 days long so that you can see it all at once. I know most of our planners are either daily planners, monthly planners, or weekly planners, but maybe for specific lengths of time like this where you're feeling really stressed, it might help to have a specialized layout on a piece of paper where you have made a layout that's 9 days long. You're never gonna find a planner with a 9-day layout because that wouldn't make sense to have Monday to the following Tuesday. But maybe this is a specific and particular scenario to you, and that's what you need. So you go ahead and you make it for whatever you need to make it for and lay it out exactly how you need it to. A side note, a few weeks ago, I had a really stressful day, and it wasn't something that was super elongated. It wasn't a really tough week. It was just a day that I was really busy. And I am not an hourly planner person. Whenever people comment on my videos that they love hourly planners, I'm good for you, but I could never schedule my day that meticulously. But on this particular day, I was stressed, and I was look, schedule out your time, because you know that if you don't do that, you'll start one task, you'll move to another, and you'll do this all day long. You won't finish anything. But if you schedule something from 9 to 9:30, 9:30 to 10, 10 to 10:30, give yourself a little break, then go back from 10:45 to 11:15, whatever the case may be, you will get so much done. I did that for 1 day. I never planned like this, but I did it for 1 day. It was so unbelievably helpful. So I thought back to that day. I decided that for this week, I was going to do a layout Monday to Friday hourly from 9 to 5. So that was super helpful I recommend this if you have a lot of tasks to get done and you have meetings, appointments, things like that. Having that overview of the times broken down will be super helpful for you as you're laying everything out so that you don't get overwhelmed. After you're done making your columns for your days with your breakdowns of your hours or your minutes or however you want to do that, it's also important to have a miscellaneous column on the side. Now, for me, I used my Silk & Sonder planner for this, and Saturday, Sunday just became miscellaneous because on Saturday and Sunday I really wasn't doing much. Luckily on Saturday morning I was like, oh, I can exhale, the week is over, thank goodness. You know, that might not be the case for you, but for me it was, and it's really important to have on Saturday, Sunday, or that empty column wherever. Maybe it's even just a Post-it, a miscellaneous box. And the reason why is maybe there are things that you know you need to get done, but they're not gonna get done in this time frame where you're really stressed out. Maybe you're like, you know what, I just remembered I do need to make a doctor's appointment, but not until next month. But it's stressful to you because it's on your mind and you're afraid that if you don't do something with that information right now, you might forget it. So putting it on that Post-it, putting it in that miscellaneous box or column is going to be really helpful because you can say, I don't need to focus on this right now. I can focus on it later, but it is off my mind and it sort of is like a weight lifted. So make sure when you do your layout for the length of time that you're feeling you're going to be particularly busy, stressed, or overwhelmed, you have that miscellaneous box so that you can put whatever you need to there so you won't forget it. The next tip I have for you is to pick realistic to-dos. So here's an actual example. So it is the end of October, beginning of November. I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed, and one of the reasons why I'm feeling overwhelmed is because the holidays are coming and I usually have my budget all worked out for holiday shopping. I usually have a perfect list, everything's ready to go. And this year, this is so unlike me, I have none of that. And I was just feeling so stressed and so overwhelmed by that because it's really busy. I am having this chaotic week. We're moving next month. Things are crazy with that. We're like trying to pack, but we also are afraid that if we don't set up for the holidays, then we're gonna move mid-December and we're like not gonna have the holidays, which we don't want. So I'm trying to decorate while simultaneously cleaning up from fall decorations and working, and it just felt like so much. So I say it's important to pick a realistic to-do because do all of my holiday shopping is not something that's going to happen this week. I feel like I'm barely keeping afloat in terms of all of the random to-dos I have. So holiday shopping isn't the most important thing. However, it is causing me quite a bit of stress right now because it's something on my mind. So a realistic to-do wouldn't be get all of your shopping done, but a realistic to-do could be make a holiday list, which is exactly what I did. So I made a list in the back of my planner of everybody that I need to buy for this year. And another thing I did was I really focused on things that I forgot last year that I wanted to remember this year. So that person that you think you're not gonna see, but you wind up giving a gift to, or, you know, last minute gifts for, you know, a big group of people that you know, you're not gonna get something specific for, but maybe you hand out bags of candy or you get mini gift cards or whatever, things like that. If you give gifts to anybody that you work with or that, you know, does something for you, maybe a babysitter or somebody cleans or whatever, things like that, trying to remember those nuances because it's unlikely you're gonna forget your spouse, your kids, your parents, your whoever. But there are those small ones where if you don't remember them, as you get closer to the holidays, things add up. And I remember what a nightmare shipping was last holiday season, and my husband just listened to this supply chain podcast, which stressed me out because I was like, oh my gosh, the stuff's not gonna get here in time. So making that list of what I need to get, or at least who I need to get stuff for so I can start brainstorming, was such a weight off. And honestly, after making this list, I already started ordering a few things. Nothing major, but like a mini flashlight for my daughter for her holiday list, because it's like one thing I can order now. It's not too expensive. I ordered it, I paid for it, it's done, it'll get here, I'll wrap it. And so I'm not saving everything for the last minute. So again, I didn't tell myself you have to do all of your holiday shopping, but by starting with one small task, it actually made me feel so much better because I have at least started it. All right, back to the layout. I know that I kind of went on a tangent with the to-do list and all of that, but when you're looking at your layout, the first thing you want to do is pick one color pen, maybe red, maybe green, maybe purple, whatever. That is going to be the items in your planner that are meetings, appointments, things that are set in stone that you cannot move. So if you're going to the dentist at 9:30 on Friday morning, which I actually had to do to get my cavity filled, it was one of those things. I saw this meme recently that was like, let me stress for 6 hours about a task that's ultimately going to take me 4 minutes to do. It was actually like, I don't want to say the best filling of my life because like, I mean, is there really such thing as a best filling of your life? But this dentist is somebody who I've only seen a couple times before, and he was amazing. I was in there for a very short time, which is delightful. But anyway, I'm just like not a dental person, although I don't know anyone who likes going to the dentist. If you like going to the dentist, leave me a comment below so I can find out, but most people don't. Anyway, again, I am on a tangent, but those are things that aren't able to be moved. It's not like, oh, I have this task that I need to do and I could do it in the morning or afternoon. I have a set appointment. So the first thing you want to do is go into your calendar and put down all set appointments or meetings that cannot be changed and block those times off. Next, you're going to refer back to that brain dump of all the miscellaneous tasks that you need to do, and you're going to fill in all of those half-hour increments or however you laid it out with those tasks. You want to make sure you're giving spots for each task, and you want to be realistic. If something's going to take you an hour, do not put it in a 30-minute slot. If you think that something might take you 30 minutes, but it might take you longer, block out 30 minutes and then later in your schedule, put 30 more minutes to wrap it up in case you need to, or maybe you can use that block for something else, but set yourself that time up so you aren't stressed because you started something and you couldn't finish it. That brings me to my next point. You want to make sure that you're leaving yourself free space. It's important to go outside, take a walk, take a breath of fresh air, make sure you're eating, hydrating, standing up during your workday or during your stressful period, but you also want to make sure that you're leaving open spaces because let's say you have a meeting and there is a follow-up or an action item that arises from that meeting, you want to make sure you've built time into your schedule to be able to do those follow-ups. So make sure that when you're planning your day and you're planning your layout and your time increments, you leave open space for other things that might come up. My next tip is, if possible, try to get ahead on tomorrow's tasks today. Now, if you don't have time to do that, you're doing the best you can if you're in a really tight spot, a stressful week, so don't worry about it. But let's say something that you thought was going to take you an hour took you 15 minutes. If you can take a task from tomorrow and complete it today, you're opening up time for yourself tomorrow and you're only going to thank yourself. You can use it as an extra break. You can use it as time to complete another task that might be helpful to get off of your to-do list. But if you can, try to look ahead to the next day or even the day after and take care of other stuff if you have time to do it. My last two tips are, when you're looking at this overview, make sure you're highlighting things as you go because it makes you feel productive and it gives you a visual as to what's left to do. I picked a pink highlighter and I did all my highlighting and it felt so good because I remember at the beginning of the week looking at my to-do and thinking, I am never going to make it through this week. And then at the end of the week, it was just this big sea of pink and I just felt so relieved and so proud of myself looking at this because I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this, and I did. So make sure you're highlighting to feel accomplished. My last tip for you is, let's say you're looking at something and you're like, I really thought this was urgent this week, but it turns out it's not. That can be moved to next week. If you have some free time, set up your next week's Outlook. Maybe it doesn't have to be as detailed or in-depth as this one, but set that up so you can move tasks, to-dos, reminders, whatever, from this week to next week so that you can just clear the space for the most important tasks at hand to survive this week. So those are my last few tips for your weekly overview on a really stressful week. Anyway, that's all I have for you on this topic. I say that's all I have, and I have a lot of things to say on it, but this is something that I don't normally talk about, but I think that it's important to not just show you the pages in my planner that I take pictures of with a couple stickers and a highlighter and a to-do list. A lot of things I do on this channel are demos, so you can kind of get an idea of how I use my planner, but for something really in-depth like this, I think maybe try to keep things more simple. So anyway, I thought this was really useful because I swear this was how I survived last week. It was just so chaotic, so overwhelming, and I thought that this might be helpful, so I wanted to share. If you have any tips or things you do to optimize your planner, your weekly layout, a daily layout, whatever you do for a time when you are just feeling super beyond stressed, like you just don't know how you're gonna make it through your week because there's so much to do, I would love to hear any other tips you have in the comments below. I always love reading the comments to see what other people are using their planners for. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I look forward to hearing from you, and if you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.